EduTrainment Workshops, the insurance industry's leading education and training platform, presents Life Insurance, the entry-level series, the products, the underwriting, and the planning applications to position your practice as the premier provider of insurance products in your community. Get on board, get on track, get to where you're going. And now, your EduTrainer National Insurance columnist, Steve Savant.
Well, welcome everyone. Steve Savant here, your EduTrainer and coach for our series, Entry Level into Life Insurance, and all this week, our introduction into underwriting. Before we get into that, I want to remind you again, because next week we're going to start using the software, I want you to go out to the Lincoln Benefits site. It's www.lblsales.com/ETW. When you come out to their site, you'll see Eclipse Illustration Software. We voted as the easy, friendly user software. Probably, it's really easy to use. If you're coming into our business for the first time and you say, boy, I need to know how to work this stuff, I don't even have to do a proposal, this is excellent. Just go down, you'll hit Run Installer and download it in onto your computer, and so that you can go page per page with me. So hop out to their site, www.lblsales.com/ETW, and download it so you can be ready for next week and the following weeks that we're going to use it. Also, I want to tell you that we're all still giving away for all of our people who attend. You can order your life insurance manual as well as the vocabulary so that you can track. And remember, we keep all these shows online, so you can go back and say, boy, I just found out about this, Steve. If you want to start from the beginning, it's all out on that site. So if you're seeing this here, you can go back out to that site and look at it, and it's all in our archive. So don't worry about it. You'll be able to start from the beginning, and I totally recommend doing that. And if you order the manual or vocabulary, just order from my email address, thebiz@brokersalliance.com. That's thebiz, THEBIZ, at brokersalliance.com, and we'll send it to you. And anything else we talk about today, if you want to order it, just go ahead and if I got it on here, I'll give it to you. All right, so let's just get into it. We're talking today about specific medical information. Yesterday was kind of a more generic, kind of a basic. Now we're going to talk about certain things that could really make an impact. Some of it will be medical, some of it will be product, but I want to be able to give you the support documentation because this is how you win cases. And one of my big ones that I've learned over the last 30 years is most carriers are whatever your closest age is. So if I'm sitting here in the month of June and my birthday is July, most carriers are going to rank me as being the next age already, even though I'm not. But there are a handful of carriers, like our sponsor as an example, Lincoln Benefit. They actually give us all plans, term and perm, survivorship, second to die, and they do age last birthday. Now that's important because I have age last birthday. I'm not even the next age yet until July. So I get to save age. And there's only a handful of carriers that do this. And by the way, some carriers only do it on permanent plans. Some carriers do it on term or specific product. So in our sponsor's case, in Lincoln Benefit's case, subsidiary of Allstate, they actually do that. So that's a really, really important thing. And one other side note about Lincoln Benefit in this regard, not only do I have age last birthday, so if my birthday's in July, which it is, and keep those cards and presents coming, if my birthday's in July and we're broadcasting in June, right, I not only get the age last birthday, the age I am right now, but I also could backdate the save age. Now, I'm too close to my birthday now, but a couple months back, I could have not only done my age, I could have paid a little bit earlier, paid a lower premium, or if I had 1035 exchange money, I could take that dump money and I'd want to back age to save age because my cost of insurance is lower. Remember, every year I turn a different birthday, my annual renewable term within a perm policy or within the structure of a regular level term policy, those numbers are really changing and it costs a little bit more. So I want to be able to do that, and I think it's an excellent tool to have a grid. Again, if you want a grid like this, you just go ahead and write me thebiz@brokersalliance.com and I'll be happy to send it to you. Now, here's something that's hard to manage, and this is one thing, if I was going to order something off this show, this would be it. Because this is what I call a true knockout medical piece that can place your clients, whether it's going to be the best preferred, the second best preferred, the third, or back into standard. I've looked at the non-smoker cholesterol guidelines for all carriers. We and several good IMOs have consolidated charts like this in grids to make it easy so that you can have it with you. If your client just happens to know their HDL or their cholesterol, it's great because then you can kind of go to this board and say on the grid, here are all the carriers. This is about a 2.5 page list of carriers, and they break it down by their HDL ratio and their cholesterol, the maximum cholesterol they'll allow, and then they'll rank you. Here's the best, super preferred, preferred plus, preferred, or standard. And I think this is an excellent tool. You don't have to guess anymore. It's all gridded out. So if you know going into your interview that your client has a high HDL ratio, your client has a high cholesterol ratio, I'd be looking at this grid first, then price it up against the most benevolent people, the benevolent carriers who give us the best ratings, and then match it up to their product, term or perm, and see which one gives your client the best deal. Interesting to know, look at these cholesterol numbers. Now, I try to keep mine under 200, and I'm sure my cardiovascular doctor would like to see it about 160. Well, I'm not going to be a vegan, so it's probably not going to happen. But look at these numbers. You could be, some of these are 300 cholesterol, max cholesterol at 300. And your HDL ratio still could be all the way up to 5.5, which mine is right around 5 right now and under 200. So I'm going to be no problem in that area, but look at how benevolent some of these carriers are. I mean, look at this one carrier, 5.5 HDL ratio and 300 cholesterol, max cholesterol. That is pretty benevolent. In fact, actually, let's just see at page 2 if anybody beats that, because I'd be kind of curious. Yeah, and I don't really see anybody beating that number. So that number is pretty high. When you think 5.5 HDL ratio and 300 cholesterol, that's pretty benevolent. Now I want to shift gears and talk about family history for a moment. We are now seeing a revolution in our business where family history among some carriers is not as critical as it used to be. So that now becomes it can be a knockout with some, and if I know I got family history and I know issues that could be punitive for my client, I may look at another carrier who's looking at family history totally different. It's kind of a modern evolution. We've migrated off this with some of our best substandard and impaired risk carriers away from family history. So it's critical to know which carrier does a really good job of this and who cares or doesn't care about it. But what it does is it tells you the actual diseases that they don't want to see on the list and the rate classifications that you have. So if I'm going into a case, and these are stuff that I like to keep in my briefcase because if my client knows their history and stuff like this, I can go right to, I know what carriers are going to be the player. One of the problems is we're always shopping it with maybe the carrier that we like. We have to find out, we have to start managing the customization of a client's specific needs. And charts like this do it, and again, if you want to order it, just say, hey Steve, I want the family history. Just write me at thebiz@brokersalliance.com and I'll send it to you. So I already know going in, all my carrier family history, all my guidelines, my references. It's a great tool to have in front of me. I already know going in what I have to look at, and we list almost every carrier that matters in competition. Now, I want to look at, sometimes when we talk about this, I want to look at guaranteed and simplified issue. Guaranteed issue is going to be a graded death benefit more than likely, and simplified issue is going to have certain knockout questions, HIV, so it could be cardio event. It depends upon certain areas, cancers, and they'll knock those out. But you won't have the same underwriting requirements. The price is going to be a little more standardized, and it's going to be across the board. There's several carriers that play in the simplified issue. And remember, sometimes simplified issue is based on individual, or if you're doing business, simplified issue is going to take the collective from the employee census. So I look at it all the time. What's my product? What's my underwriting? And what will they give me simplified issue? And most of these carriers are sitting anywhere between 100,000 and $500,000 simplified issue. Now here's an interesting chart, because remember, LIMRA just came out with a study saying that we've had an increase in life sales, but shockingly, the life sales increase is in the geriatric zone of 65 and higher. Unbelievable. We are now issuing contracts. About a month ago, I told you we're already issuing. The Mortality Revolution is having such an impact on our business. It's unbelievable. Issuing to age 90. So we may have a geriatric client that actually needs coverage, maybe for a state. Maybe they have benevolent charitable giving intentions. Possibly they want to do generation skipping and give to their kids. No, their grandkids. And when I look at this, wow, that looks so old, but really our geriatric clients, especially female, are now really in decent shape. We've just learned better diet, better behavior, we're exercising. All these things are impacting it, and I love this. It's issued to age 90, and here's some of the carriers. Remember, most carriers don't do it, but our handful of carriers here that are there, in fact, our sponsor, again, Lincoln Benefit, we go out to age 90, standard classes all the way up to age 90. That's a pretty good deal. Notice that there are some that will actually manage it. Hancock goes preferred, depending upon the case again. You get a preferred, Genworth will look at that, no nicotine there. And then here's some of the rest of our group that issue to age 90. Keep in mind that there are already rumors out there that we're going to start issuing to age 95 on second to die. Now, think about that. Our maturity dates are at 120. Some carriers don't even use the maturity date any longer. They say life of the insured. So it's amazing to me, issuing at age 90. When I came into the business, half of the carriers I played with, that was the maturity date. Now we're talking about using this as the issue date. Wow. Medical exam expirations. A lot of people always say, Steve, my client just had an exam. Do I have to go through the whole thing all over again? Well, of course, remember, any exams that we ask for on parameds or EKGs, all can be done in the comfort of your home or at your office. And I like it because my client can actually order their results free. I like to do it, and I always have the paper there signed, would you like me to send you so you can know your HDL ratio? Everybody's so conscious about the cholesterol, HDL ratio, their blood pressure, all these things, and I can give that to them in their results, and I like to do that, so I always carry the paper with me and let them sign it, and I give them their results. It's free, remember, absolutely free to the client. If the client doesn't take the case, it's still free. So I'm looking at medical expiration. So if I've had from other carriers medical exams done or APSs ordered, whatever, I can see how long I can go back. Now look at this. If it was a paramed, it was done, I can go all the way back, and that paramed's good for 12 months. That's excellent. If my client doesn't want to go through the whole blood and urine and so forth, I can go ahead and go, almost all these carriers, about half these carriers, go 12 months. MD exams, 12 months. Some will go out to 12 months. Again, 6 and 12. If it's blood and urine, they'll go out to 12 months. If it's arresting EKG, 12 months. When you're looking at this, a stress EKG, look at this. One carrier, it could be in the last 24 months, it could be 2 years ago, and they'll use that without having the client go get a stress EKG. And then again, x-rays, depending upon if the x-rays are needed, and this is where we've really changed in our underwriting. We're moving more and more away from x-rays, but if it was necessary, most of the good carriers will go out 12 months. Now, we talked about MVR in the last section, and when I'm looking at medical exams and looking at what I want to do, I want to choose a paramed that's flexible about time. I like my exams done first thing the client gets up. If there's any way I can take the first a sample for urine and blood pressure and EKG, I want to do it. My client's been resting. We told our client not to eat in the last 24 hours, not to have any physical activity, including, I'm sorry to say, marital sexual intercourse, because I can't have any protein or albumin spillage in the urine. So when I say no working out, no caffeine, no food for about 24 hours out, or actually it's more like 14, 15, I'm a little monastic myself, I want to make sure that my exams are the best. So I try to order them in the morning. If I can't do it, it's just the way it is, but I like to do it first thing. It's about as good as it's going to get. If I can talk the client into meeting if I'm an early riser, I'm up at 5 usually. If I can get a paramed a facility to come to my door at my house at 5 in the morning, I'm doing it. It's convenient, it's great, it's absolutely free. Now remember, most carriers now at $500,000 are going to do an EKG. I think it's a great perk for your client to just lay down on their couch and have an EKG done right then and there, and then I can take those results, I can take them to my doctor when they send me my form, because I told you we're going to go ahead and sign off on that and say, I do want my results from my chemistry. I want to be able to send that to my doctor to put that as part and parcel of my APS, my attending physician statement. I want to be able to add all that information. It's critical to always have a good exam. And so you want to tell your client what to expect. They're going to draw blood. They're going to need urine. They'll tell you not to eat before that. Every protocol that we talk about, we want to be able to give a heads up to our client so they're absolutely prepared to take an exam. That's all about the information that'll help you write life insurance.
This has been an EduTrainment Workshop, the educational division of the National Insurance Clearinghouse, the marketing arm of Brokers Alliance, and sponsored by Lincoln Benefit Life, an Allstate company.